Welcome to Afghanistan. This is Shahr-e Gholghola, also known as the City of Screams. In 1221, the Mongols, led by Genghis Khan, ordered the destruction of every living being in this area, including children. Today, this archaeological site is considered by locals as one of many anomalous locations across the country where spectral apparitions and disembodied voices can be seen and heard at night. Encounters with the paranormal have been reported from both locals and foreigners in this and nearby areas for several decades, more than anywhere else in South Asia and its neighboring Middle East. Stories of modern-day encounters that go beyond rational logic have been reported across Afghanistan, from encounters with ancient giants, cryptids, and Djinn, to the alleged discovery of advanced ancient technology that can manipulate time and space itself. In this episode, we're going to question what makes our South Asian neighbor home to so many unexplainable events. There's a reason why Afghanistan is called the graveyard of empires. Even though in the 21st century, this country has more in common with South Asia than the Middle East, being culturally, linguistically, and even genetically different from its Arab and Persian neighbors. It does share a history with our region since it was partially home to the lost Persian empires that were spawned from ancient Mesopotamia. With that shared history comes legends and tales of monsters and demons that not only exist in historical narratives found in old cuneiform texts, but also in real-life encounters of the 21st century. In the late 2000s, a phone call to the show Coast to Coast by a man claiming to be a US pilot details a cargo he allegedly flew from Afghanistan. This cargo was the corpse of a red-headed 12-foot human who weighed upwards of 1,500 pounds and had 6 fingers and toes. Apparently, this giant had attacked a small squadron of soldiers who had ventured into the mountains during one of their missions. 9 soldiers were ripped apart and eaten by this creature before being taken down. The soldier reports that it was able to run up to 40 kilometers in 2 footsteps and was incredibly strong. 17 years later, on the 12th of April 2017, the US Air Force dropped its MOB device that contained 21,600 pounds of explosives and had a mile-long blast radius. This device has not been used before due to concerns of the widespread collateral it could cause. However, alternative theorists say that an exception was made that day, because the targets were not humans, but literal giants. And these giants allegedly possessed technological secrets going back to the origins of mankind. According to the controversial Corey Good, these beings are being kept alive via stasis chambers, and that there is an active global mandate to locate these giants and their technology that were created by what he calls an ancient builder race. This race that is extraterrestrial in origin and may have not only have been wrongly interpreted by pre-Christian religions as gods, but also by modern-day Christians as fallen angels. These creatures were so technologically advanced, ancient man viewed them as supernatural. While the existence of stasis chambers has yet to be proven as real, with the only proof seen online so far discovered in nearby Kurdistan as part of an elaborate hoax, or what seemed like a hoax. Evidence of other alleged advanced technologies have also been found across South Asia and the Middle East. In both ancient Persian cuneiform texts and Indian religious writings, references to nuclear technology and its aftermath have been found. Meanwhile, Iraq is now infamously known to be home to one of more stargates, which are devices that can transport humans to other worlds, and according to some, even through time. Speaking of time, back in Afghanistan, other anomalous technologies were allegedly found within its cave system. These claims have been taken so seriously, even mainstream news sources from neighboring India have reported and continue to report on these discoveries.
In 2012, a US military expedition was sent into Afghanistan's vast cave network following an alleged discovery of an ancient flying machine trapped within what news sources called a time well, a temporal anomaly that warps the flow of time in and around itself. According to various online blogs, news sites and TV networks, the expedition was sent there to investigate the disappearances of 8 of their servicemen who had made the initial find. Academics say that the machine matched the description of a Vimana, a vehicle from Hindu mythology that should not exist in reality. It is believed that the time well belonged to Zarathustra, a powerful mystic from ancient Persia who founded one of the largest and most mysterious monotheistic faiths of the ancient world, Zoroastrianism. But how does this ancient Persian belief connect to ancient Indian mythology, given that they're from cultures that are very different from each other? While some scholars state that Zoroastrianism actually originated in India, the consensus is that it is a Middle Eastern faith with Persian roots. This leads us to Hindu-Indian mythology and the alleged 2012 discovery of a time well in nearby Afghanistan. This anomaly that was allegedly found in a remote cave system has been described as warping the flow of time, looping a single moment of itself over and over again, indefinitely, allowing for the Vimana vehicle within it to remain preserved. Whether it is a natural, supernatural, or a technological phenomena is unclear. Scrawled on nearby walls were found the writing that state that the rightful owner of the flying machine was the prophet Zarathustra. If indeed this discovery is genuine, and that is a big if, that would mean that this device would be between 5,000 and 6,000 years old. It has also been implied that the missing soldiers who made the initial discovery were somehow trapped within this anomaly when they tried to remove it, making their current whereabouts unknown. According to bloggers and online news outlets that covered the discovery, the time well operates along the lines of an electromagnetic radiation gravity field, something which was first postulated by Albert Einstein as the unified field theory and long rumored to be behind the 1943 World War II experiment in Philadelphia, United States, that saw a naval vessel literally phased out of time. According to accounts written in the Sanskrit text, the Mahabharata, which is an ancient Hindu book, the Vimana flying machines themselves are a type of meta-upa, out-of-place artifact, since they describe advanced ancient technology that closely resembles real-world modern technology. In these ancient Sanskrit books, the Vimana is illustrated as measuring at 12 cubits in circumference with 4 solid wheels. These machines also have defensive and offensive mechanisms incorporated into them, essentially making them weapons. In the ancient writings of the Vaimanika Sastra, a Sanskrit book on aerospace technology written in 1923, the author makes a claim that the Vimanas mentioned in ancient epics, like the Mahabharata, were advanced aerodynamic flying vehicles similar to a rocket capable of interplanetary flight. He states that it's an apparatus which can go by its own force from one place to place or globe to globe. According to Professor Dilip Kumar Kanjilal, a leading expert on the Vimanas, he states that some of those crafts were city-sized, capable of holding unlimited numbers of people. There were 3 flying cities made for and were used by the demons. One was in a stationary orbit in the sky, another moving in the sky, and one was permanently stationed on the ground. These were docked like modern spaceships in the sky and at a fixed latitude and longitude. Most interestingly is his use of the term demons used to describe the pilots.
In 2008, US Marines stationed in Helmand province could not explain a series of anomalous events that plagued their mission. Strange lights at night, disembodied whispers, the sudden drafts of ice-cold air during the middle of summer, and occasional smell of rotting flesh with no specific origin would plague the men. Akin to the reported occurrences of similar anomalies in Shahr-e Gholghola, where the Mongol Empire had laid to waste the lives of scores of people in the 13th century, could another paranormal imprint that appears to be related to a large-scale tragic event be manifesting in Helmand province? According to the New York Times, in the late 2000s, the men stationed here discovered small tunnels dug into its base that led to a single chamber that appeared to be a fort or tomb. The tunnels were eventually destroyed to prevent insurgents from using the area as a hideout, but in the months and years that passed, buried human bones were discovered across the area. While it's natural to assume that these remains were that of insurgents, it soon became clear that they were at least decades old, and in some cases centuries. Speaking to the newspaper, a local scholar explained that the hill had originally been the 18th century fort, but eventually ethnic Pashtuns saw it and other structures like it in the area as spiritual sites, and so over time, they eventually transformed them into burial areas. Archaeologists and historians believe that it was last likely used as a graveyard around 1980, at the start of the Soviet-Afghan conflict. During this time, Nasim Akhundzada, a Pashtun warlord who operated in Helmand province, surrounded, captured, and slaughtered roughly 40 Afghan communist police officers near the area. Akin to the Shahr-e Gholghola phenomena, could a possible cause of the modern-day anomalies be due to a huge loss of life? In 1982, Soviet forces suffered a devastating blow in the area that resulted in many of them not returning home to their families. According to local residents, elements of the battle were anomalous in nature. Specifically, when the Soviet armored columns approached the Amer Agha shrine, the tanks became stuck in the mud, which in itself is nothing too weird. But whenever they attempted to detonate any type of device, their equipment would fail, with eyewitnesses even testifying to seeing several armored vehicles collapsing or sinking into the earth and completely vanishing. Therefore, it would appear that whatever paranormal phenomena was occurring in the area, it was not the result of ghosts. On a side point, being an Islamic country, the concept of ghosts are considered as fantasy. Instead of ghosts, we believe in Djinn, and some scholars believe that Djinn are attracted to the remains of the dead and may frequent locations such as graveyards because of this. Speaking to the New York Times, Jose Herrera, one of the Marines that had spent time there in 2009, witnessed mysterious lights, heard strange static on the radio, and much like several other Marines who had spent time there, he felt that someone or something invisible was watching them. On another occasion, an embedded foreign journalist complained about a sudden temperature fluctuations from hot to freezing cold that went beyond scientific explanation. This was in addition to also witnessing strange lights and hearing phantom voices in the night, some of which were so clear witnesses identified them as Russian. So what could be the source of all these anomalous occurrences taking place in a single area? If we're to dismiss any supernatural explanation, such as the influence of spirits, then could these strange accounts be scientific in origin and linked to any of the advanced ancient technology allegedly found in the region, including what we've already mentioned in this episode? In a paper written in the early 2000s, Dr. Michael Sala from the Exopolitics Organization proposed a hypothesis that the entire nation of Afghanistan is directly positioned above a vast energy portal, attracting otherworldly visitors to the region. What exactly the scientific nature of this energy portal he speaks of is unclear. with some proponents of the theory labeling it as a quote-unquote psychic. Regardless, it does explain why its neighbors in the Middle East, specifically Iran and Iraq, and even nearby Kuwait, have been witness to high amounts of unexplainable anomalies, while the rest of the GCC and nearby Asia experience very little supernatural phenomena in comparison. Could all of the unexplainable instances witnessed in the northern parts of the Gulf and in Afghanistan truly be the result of advanced or alien technology that is merely misinterpreted or supernatural? Or is there something truly paranormal at play? In the next 2 episodes, we'll take a very dark journey into nearby Iraq to continue this investigation. In addition to how its Levantine neighbor of Lebanon dealt with a high-profile paranormal anomaly that became so prominent, the Catholic Church as well as the government had to take direct action. Make sure you're subscribed, leave your opinion, and see you in the next one.